Welcome back. So in this video, we're going to take care of the bottom bar, this one here, which says home, browser, library. And at least we're going to start with it. So we have this current screen, and underneath we're going to set up a bottom screen. Actually, we can do it underneath the title, just above the scaffold. So I'm going to create this bottom bar because that's what we need inside of the scaffold if we want to have it. So you see I have the scaffold here and it has this bottom bar property. Okay, so now I can define what the bottom bar should look like. I will, however, create a separate variable which will take care of that aspect. So here what we can do is we can just create a val bottom bar, which will be a composable, and I need to add the add keyword. Add composable, which will take in no value and will return nothing. However, I'm going to define it straight away in here, where I'm going to check what the current screen is. So you see we have this current screen, which takes our view model and gives us the value of the current screen, because we basically want to know which screen we're at in order to then update later on here this aspect. You see, first of all, it moves to the screen. Second of all, it also updates the bottom bar here to change the color, to change which of the screens is selected. So current screen, I'm going to check that. And then I'm going to check, is it a drawer screen? So is screen dot drawer screen or current screen is equal to screen dot, and now that's what we are going to require to set up. So inside of our screens, we will need to set up the other screens that we don't have yet. So we will need the bottom screens, right? Which, if you look at it, are similar to the drawer screens, yet they need to be slightly different. So we need to set up another sealed class in here. Inside of this sealed class screen. So I'm going to create a sealed class called bottom screen, and that will have a title. So same as we had here. So I'm going to call it B title instead. And it will also have a drawable resource. So B title and B root. So for bottom, not for drawer. So title, root, and the resource, the icon that we want to display. But then it will also inherit from screen with that title and that root as a parameter. And here I'm going to set up new objects. So basically we could have done it on the drawer screen, but I really wanted to have two separate ones because they are the same pretty much, right? They inherit from screen, they pass the same information, but I wanted to have them separately so that it's easier to read on the next screen. So one of them will be the home screen, because if we look at it, we have this home screen, we have this browse screen, and then we have the library screen. So let's set all of those up. So this one will be the bottom screen, or will be a bottom screen with home as the title and home as the root. So I'm going to use home without a capital H in this case, and it's going to be using a drawable. And here I'm going to use this music video one. We can obviously change that, but for now I'm just going to use that. Then still inside of this bottom screens, I'm going to have another object, which will be a library, which will also be a bottom screen, where the title will be library, the root will be library with a smaller lower cap L, and then I'm going to use r.drawable.ic baseline. Well, actually, I think we don't have the image for it yet. Don't have the icon for it yet. It should be the play button. So let's set up a new resource under tools, resource manager. Yeah, there it was. I just didn't see it right. And then we want to set up a vector asset. We're going to select a button. So smart display, we could use display here, or what would be a library like? Library play, this one would be fine. So video library, music library, something like that. Okay, so you can choose whatever you want. I'm gonna select that. This will be the name. I'm gonna click yes or next and finish, and this will be the resource that I want to use for it. Okay, now we need the final third entry, which will be our browse, which will also be a bottom screen, and then it will have the name of browse and the root of browse as well. Now finally we need to set up the drawable, so r dot drawable dot, and yeah, so I'm going to use another drawable here, our new vector. Let's create it, and I'm gonna search for browse. Let me see if I find something like that. And you know what, I'm just going to use this apps one. Now you could obviously use whatever you want, whatever fits. Article would also fit, I believe, because that's what the screen looks like if you look at it, right? So here, well, I cannot select it right now. I'm not going to use the same icon that we used before, but I'm just going to use this icon now. Let's use that in here. And this one was, what did we call it? Baseline apps. So I'm going to use this one here, baseline apps, which is this icon. Okay, so now we have our objects for the screen. We can now go back to our main view where we have set up those screens. So we're checking which screen we're at. And if we're at home, so screen dot bottom screen dot home, then we're going to set up a bottom navigation. So there's this thing called bottom navigation, which I can pass a modifier to. I'm going to say that it should wrap content. So modifier dot wrap content size. So I will now create another variable which will take care of my screens that I want to have in the bottom area, which is just going to be inside of screen. We had this list before, you see screens in drawer. Now we're going to create another one, screens in bottom. So val screens in bottom, which will just be a list of screen dot bottom screen dot home and screen dot bottom screen dot browse and screen dot bottom screen dot library. So we're basically just setting all of the three screens that we just set up here, right? All of those three, we're setting them up into the list so that we can now use that list inside of our main views bottom navigation to display those three icons there, or like basically the screens, so to speak, so that we can access them very easily later on via the items. So here we can just say screens in bottom dot for each, and here we're going to use this for each loop to go through each screen inside of the bottom screen. So I'm going to call this one item, and we're going to create a bottom navigation item for each of them. So you see, we need to know, is it selected? And therefore we can use current root equal item dot be root. So that's what this root says here. All right. Then we need to define the on click. So I would say, well, basically it should navigate to the right page. So here we can use controller.navigate and item.be root. So currently it will crash because we have not set up those roots in the navigation yet, but let's do that later on. And now we need to define which icon we want to use. Now the beauty is we have a, well, we can define it like this. Icon is going to be icon with a painter. And let me see if I have icon imported. Well, it seems like it's fine. It just needs the content description, which I'm going to say item.bTitle. And we need the painter, which will be the painter resource with the ID of item.icon, because the icon is of type painter resource. Okay, if you look at it here, it's of drawable resource, which can be converted in painter resource, or which is what the painter resource wants as the type. You see here, drawables res. So that's my icon. And now let me just make sure that this is the painter variable, like so. Then the icon should also be happy. There we are. So that's the icon. Then we can have the label as well. Here, label, which will be a text inside of curly brackets, which will just have the text variable. So text equal item dot bTitle. And on top of that, and still inside of the bracket of our bottom navigation item, I'm going to have the selected, the selected content color to be color.white, and the unselected color.black. Okay, so that's our bottom bar. Let's now set that bottom bar up inside of our scaffold like so. So now we use this bottom bar that we've just set up inside of our scaffold. And now you see, once we start the application, we have our bottom navigation bar with our home, our browse, and our library. So if I click on one, it will crash my app. So it looks like it's working, but that's just my other app, as you see here, because basically we have not implemented those navigation items yet. And let's just do that in the next video. So for now, you see, that's how you can add such a bottom bar. You just need to prepare the bottom bar as a composable. You could have also put all of this code inside of the scaffold here. That would have been fine, but I just have it as a separate variable up here, and use the bottom navigation with a few navigation items. And you just need to define which items you want to have. And that's what we created this list for with the screens. So now we can use the screens as well for titles, as well as for their description, or like the route where they should be in terms of the navigation, as well as which icon we want to use. And then you can say which color should be used for selected and unselected. So that's it for this video. In the next one, we're going to fix the problem with the navigation.